I would not want to double cross myself.
Quack. You. Quack. All of these people for what they've done to me. Playing the victim, impulsive, overly defensive, liar, twisting a narrative. Like, can't accept criticism, can't apologize, can't own up to their flaws, master manipulator. Like, all of these things that people have been saying about me is literally them.
Welcome to the Gabbie Hanna Files Part 2. In the last month since my Part 1 video, there has been an absolute cluster of content that has been released on the YouTube sphere, adding new information, new perspectives, but most of all, inconsistent lies. In my Part 1, I mentioned that Gabbie Hanna will be releasing a 12-chapter series covering her controversies and addressing things and pointing out problems and yada 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 to defend herself, which is completely within her right to do so. Just as I am in the right to respond and point out inconsistencies and lies of things that overall don't make sense, to push a narrative that is or isn't true. And we're going to be analyzing these videos video by video, response by response, facts by facts, receipt by receipt, and pinpointing the little holes and inconsistencies of one of YouTube's current hate boners on their platform, Gabbie Hanna. Now, as always, I try to approach these subjects as with least amount of bias as possible, which we're gonna get into later. But regardless of how much you dislike Gabbie Hanna, you also have to be willing to make a distinction between right and wrong when evidence is presented that somebody may be right, even if it's somebody that you don't like. Keep that in mind for this video. But before we begin any further, special thanks to the sponsor of the channel today. You've heard of them before, Raycon. These earbuds are absolutely amazing. They're stylish. They come in a large variety of different color schemes. They're extraordinarily comfortable. They have a wonderful, sleek design, incredible Bluetooth, heavy bass, but most of all, they're a fraction of the price of the normal premium earbuds that you would buy on the market today. Their Bluetooth setup is super seamlessly easy, and if you use my vanity URL linked down below, buyraycon.com/Repzion, you'll get 15% off your Raycon order, and you can get a pair of these E25 earbuds yourself, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed with these guys. You save money, you get a good quality product, you help support the channel, it's a win-win-win-win. As of this exact moment, there have been a total of 8 videos Gabbie Hanna has uploaded on her channel that we're going to be going through today. And because this is a several-day process of filming, we're going to try to go through all 12, assuming she uploads them by then. I don't know, but at this point, I need you to go get a root beer or something, because I am starting this off with a peanut butter stout. I need this really bad, because what we're about to go through is very complicated, it's very confusing, and it's a lot of work to condense this in a way that hopefully you understand. It's been a cluster ducky, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm hoping for the sake of the video I don't have to pull this out, but I'm just gonna put it along the side and we'll see how far I can go without using this. In the description of Chapter 1, Revisiting Rice Gum Drama, she says, "In this chapter, I revisit what feels to me like the beginning of an end. I was hurt at a party and it was used for months worth of content for Rice Gum and drama channels. To this day, I get comments and tweets saying that they wish he would have hit me harder. I never got to express the entire truth until now and how it permanently affected me."
This for me right now is about processing something. This is how I've been doing that type of process, so I'm gonna try to do it like that, and hopefully get some shit out of my brain so I can, like, I think I realized something that's super important, and I think that it's gonna help me a lot in life. I feel like I have this reputation of being a liar, starting drama and shit like that, and I always wondered where that came from, because when I look back at all of the situations that I've been in, I never start anything, and like I will stand by that. I have never once said somebody's name until it was like a point where I felt like I could no longer ignore it, but I have never come to the internet to like try to start a public conference.
Well, that's just completely untrue, and we're gonna take most recent example with Oscar. In my last video, I ended with a couple clips from Gabbie Hanna going on Instagram doing a whole rant on this guy named Oscar. Now, what exactly did Oscar do? Well, Oscar liked a tweet on Twitter about a post on Gabbie Hanna. which resulted in Gabbie Hanna tagging these multiple people and starting stuff with Oscar. Now, I want you to imagine that somebody on Twitter or YouTube says, writes a comment about my receding hairline, right? And somebody who I know, or I follow, or don't know, it doesn't really matter the context, but somebody likes a tweet about my receding hairline. If I then tag that person, blow them up, then make an entire Instagram story about how somebody liked a tweet about my receding hairline, do you think people are going to take me really seriously? People are going to say, well, you're starting shit. Technically, I am.
You supported the hate against me publicly, apologized publicly if you mean it. And he was like, I didn't apologize. And I was like, oh, then why'd you DM me? Oh, right. Informative. You don't actually care. You just don't want me to blast you on social media, which I'm not going to, because I don't blast everyone. I blast people who publicly degrade me. That's the difference. So manipulative. Like, this person messaged me like, hey, sorry, I liked that tweet without really knowing what was going on. I'm here for you. I love your music. Keep doing that. You're really great at it. Doors open if you ever want to chat. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's actually chat about like what's going on and your contribution to it and how you can actually make that right. Like, don't just say what you did wrong, make it right. And then he told me that I forget exactly what he said, but basically implied that I'm toxic and aggressive, and then blocked me so that I couldn't respond again. That's narcissistic abuse.
Gabbie, you are allowed to respond and tag anybody on your social media if you feel free to do so. But what blows my mind is your lack of comprehension on just this most recent predicament. You added somebody and tagged them and started stuff with them because they liked a tweet about you. This is the most pettiest thing this level is high school level. Like, how old are you, 14, 15? But get this, you say that you're not gonna blast anybody. That's what you say, you're not gonna blast this person. You say it in your actual stream, and then you blast the person. You say you're not gonna mention their name, and then you tag them on Instagram in this story right here.
I'm drama seeking, right? I started drama. I just want attention. Ah! I do want attention. Please. Please! I do want attention. And I think that this should have attention because Oscar Wilde neglected to include a very large part of the story, which was he involved himself in my life and my situation and publicly liked a tweet degrading me, then went out of his way to message me saying that he didn't know what was going on and offer friendship, and then when he was being held accountable to his own action, he blocked me. This isn't gonna work on him though. Why not?
What do you mean I start drama with people? Like, where? And I realized it all goes back to Rice Gum, like that situation. I never considered that like starting drama. This is like a real disconnect that I had from the rest of the internet, I think. And maybe why we misunderstand each other so much is because that wasn't starting drama to me. That was, I was assaulted at a party and my property was broken. And the person who did it lied about it and then bragged about it and somehow got away with it, even though in bragging about what he did is somehow like got excused for assaulting me and breaking my property.
There is absolutely no excuse for Rice Gum to break your phone. Absolutely not. I don't know if in my last video some people may have interpreted it that way, but I want to make something very, very, very clear. Rice Gum and Gabbie Hanna are both dumb. They both were in a situation which completely could have been avoided had they both understood boundaries and reactions. See, Rice Gum is guilty of responding like an idiot. He let his ego get the best of him. How dare a girl shoves a camera in my face and challenges me to a rap battle, or insults my rapping skills, or whatever, what have you, you know? If a man has to react to somebody by knocking their phone out of their hand or breaking their phone because a camera's in their face, he has his own set of issues that need to be dealt with, because that type of reaction is wrong and poor, and in no way justifies you, Gabbie, getting your phone hit.
My heart's pounding right now because this is something that like, the first time I talked about this, I got so much shit for it. It's like, dude, no matter how you slice this, like whether you think that it was obnoxious of a YouTuber to approach another YouTuber at an obnoxious YouTuber party where, by the way, everybody was filming, and like, that's the thing, like, the story got so like turned against me, and I remember that detail was so frustrating to me because people kept saying like, you know, everybody at these YouTuber parties knows the unspoken rule, like nobody films, there's no phones.
Parties where there's just YouTubers and just other people that, you know, also have a following and do social media stuff, people know that we don't like to bring out phones and we don't record people. These YouTuber parties, people know to not take out phones.
I don't got beef with her, but I still think she's a fucking cunt on that bitch. All she did was come in, and this bitch is shoving a camera in his face going, Snapchat, Snapchat, Snapchat. If I was in a situation like that, and I have been in situations like that, I would have fucking grabbed the phone and smashed it as well.
And like, there's literally footage from vlogs at the party, and everyone's vlogging, including Rice Gum.
He had said that when you go to these YouTuber parties, it's understood that you don't bring out your phone and you don't film people really without their permission. People do film at those parties, and you filmed at those parties. Filming's fine when people are okay with it. You weren't okay with it because you got bamboozled.
And like, that was something that I wish I could just like point to and be like, look guys, like, that's not what happened. This person made videos about me on the internet, making fun of my nose, which is, whatever. So, are you guys happy? I get insecure. What are you guys talking about? My fucking nose. Like, as if that's not, like, something I've heard my whole fucking life. Like, it still hurts to be made fun of for your face. Whatever.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It does hurt. When you first start doing YouTube online, or you start becoming getting a following in any capacity, when people point out physical appearances, issues with your appearance, receding hairline, big nose, big circles under the eyes, whatever have you, right? It does affect people. It absolutely does. I'd be in denial if it didn't. But unfortunately, when you're on the internet for years, in my case, over 10 plus years, you really need to grow in the sense of becoming desensitized to that stuff, because this is the reality of the internet. And in no way am I justifying people making fun of your nose, Gabbie, but just hear me out. The reason why you have to learn to be desensitized to this stuff is because the more you react to someone, if somebody makes fun of your face, your teeth, whatever, and you react in a very emotional reaction, even though it's understandable why you would, but if you react that way, what it does to the internet world is it basically says this person's very sensitive. I mean, after all, you're wearing a shirt that says I'm sensitive, and people prey on sensitivity. If they can see that a physical attribute is something that bothers you, and you allow that insecurity to fester and open up on the internet, and you let it bother you, more people will focus on it. It's a screwed up part of the internet, but it's unfortunately a part of the internet that just exists. Doesn't make it okay, but there's really nothing you can do outside of just learning to deal with the fact that this is something people will do and say about anyone, not just you, as a means to try to get under people's skin. It's a sad part of the internet, but one that will only increase when you make it a big deal that somebody makes fun of your nose. It sounds so insensitive when I hear myself saying this, but you're gonna have to just deal with it and not allow it to bother you, because the more it bothers you, the more people will use that against you. It's really screwed up mental gymnastics to how the internet works. And I mean this sincerely, genuinely, like, it's screwed up. There's really no way to change it when you have thousands of people watching you. They're gonna nitpick everything. I've had people focus on a little hair on my shoulder and get mad at me because I have a hair on my shoulder or a piece of food on my face or what have you. It's like, gotta learn to be desensitized to that stuff. One of the ways that I personally embrace when people make fun of me, especially whether it be verbally, physically, whatever, is I embrace it. Self-deprecation. The moment I let it bother me, the moment it will become an issue. The moment it becomes an issue, more people will bring it up and more people will use it against me. That's just how it works.
Person, for literally no reason at all, saying horrible shit about me, trying to hurt me for some reason. Like, those videos were malicious. Those weren't funny. And if you think they're funny, you have a weird sense of humor.
I don't think there's anything bigger than your nose. How'd it get so big? Can you please tell us? Nose so long, big British jealous. Even Pinocchio said it's absurd. Wait, is it Gabbie or the Fruit Loop bird? Showing all those scratches on you, but I really think those are stretch marks.
I agree. That's horribly mean and completely unnecessary. However, I do believe YouTube has incorporated a new terms of service which demonetizes people who make content like that. So that is kind of 1+1, right? Regardless, I do understand where you're coming from. When you have a creator that large with millions of subscribers, specifically emphasizing a particular insecurity on your body, I agree with you. That would hurt anybody, and that would bother, because it would just create a massive influx of more people coming towards you, pointing out a particular flaw that you may hate about yourself, and it doesn't make anybody feel good.
I just feel like, oh my God, I feel like I was saying earlier, like, if you say something to someone, say it to their face. Like, I will say it to your face. So, okay, you made some videos about me? Cool. I'm gonna walk up to you and be like, hey, what's up? And in turn, you're going to pin me to the couch, and in your own fucking words, you had to fight me for it. Oh, she was holding on to her phone, so I had to fight her a little bit for it, or I had to work for it, or whatever the fuck you said.
I grab her phone. She kind of holds on tight, though, because, you know, it's her phone. So I kind of had to use two hands to, like, to throw it on the floor and run away. She held her phone pretty tight.
What about the scratches? Were those from you?
Bro, I don't even have nails, and she, like, how? Those scratches actually, so she posted her bruises, and I don't even have nails, bro. I didn't scratch her.
Snatch that shit quick as hell, because I'm like, ooh, Spidey senses. Shit, yo. And then, so quick. And then I did that, and then I was like, and then, like, she tried to get it back. So when did you hit her in the face? wait on it. Walked away and looked like a bitch, or I could have did something about it, and I did something about it. I grabbed her phone, and I smashed it. I was like, enough is enough, you little stupid bitch.
You're admitting that you fucking assaulted me because you tried to take something from me. I didn't give it to you, and you wrestled it from me. That's insane, dude. But what's more insane is that when I said that, everybody's reaction was, that didn't happen. And it's like, he's literally telling you it happened. And then for the people who I guess believe it happened, but I deserved it,
I would have fucking grabbed the phone and smashed it as well.
like, what the fuck is that about? That's where my initial feelings of disdain started, and my mistrust for people and my defensiveness. Like, that had real life repercussions for me. I would go to the Grove, which is like a shopping center here, and on like multiple occasions just had gaggles of teenage boys following me around, asking me about rice gum and asking if my phone was broken and filming me and mocking me. At the end of the day, whether you think I'm annoying or dramatic or not, I wanted to speak up for myself in a situation that was wrong. In a situation where I was being bullied online and then assaulted in person when I confronted my bully online in real life. And then from that point forward, it was just like, dude, like, no one stood up for me, and I get it. And like, I've talked about that on like
Gabbie, that's not true either. Right here, right here, and right here, and right here, okay? Like, that's just 4 videos of people who covered the whole situation when Rice Gum and the Gabbie Hanna stuff went down, and these people actually did defend you. They defended you in these videos. They're like, it is, you know, Rice Gum reacted poorly, which he did. He reacted wrong. But there are other videos. If you just take the time to literally look out there, people did defend you. Why are you ignoring other people or smaller channels of people who did cover you and did defend you in that whole situation? It's just disingenuous to ignore people who did in fact defend you. When that happened, I remember it was a very, very split controversy. There was people saying that, you know, what happened to you was not okay, and people saying that you deserved it, and it was like, it was very, very mixed. And I know you're exaggerating because I watched this happen real time online all those years ago. I didn't cover it. But to perpetuate this idea that nobody defended me except these 4 or 5 people, that's bullshit, and that's a fucking lie. Gabbie Hanna's next upload was Chapter 2, holding T channels accountable. Justice for the Bianca Devins family. In this video, Gabbie Hanna addresses a controversy that, in my humble opinion, shouldn't have been one at all. And despite the rest of this video being highly critical of Gabbie Hanna, I'm gonna be critical to multiple different people here, because mob mentality really pisses me off. Not just any sort of mob mentality, but I'm talking fake moral outrage. It's a really, really big trend here on the YouTube sphere. People get their jimmies wrestled, they get offended, they get mad over things that at the end of the day, even when people make right, or even when information is corrected and people come out and say their piece, they're still angry. They're still offended. They're still making a big deal out of something that shouldn't have been made a big deal at all. What I'm talking about is the response to the Bianca Devins situation. Gabbie Hanna made a video about e-girls. And in this video, for roughly about 7 seconds of this entire video, an article is up on the side of the windows that they're scrolling through, right? Of looking at photos of e-girls, looking at clothes and aesthetics. And it just so happens that a photo of somebody who had been is on the side of the screen with a small little bio synopsis, and Gabbie Hanna did one of the worst things in the world. Not really. She complimented this girl's shirt, not realizing that this girl had been And the internet does what the internet does best. They went wild. For what? Why? Why is complimenting somebody, okay, explain to me, why is complimenting somebody wrong? If they're alive or dead, why does it matter?
Gabbie Hanna also recently did an e-girl video where she turns herself into an e-girl, and obviously I didn't click on it because I didn't expect it to be problematic, and oh, how wrong was I? Very. So first I saw a tweet saying Gabbie Hanna makes video about being an e-girl, comments on a picture of Bianca Devins without reading the caption next to the picture, doesn't realise she's literally using a victim as her aesthetic because she doesn't give a about anyone but herself. And if you don't know what she's talking about, I went on the video because I received a DM, and in the video she goes through different e-girls and like reads up articles about e-girls, and she looks for an aesthetic for herself, and at some point she comes across an article that has an e-girl there, someone that dressed the way e-girls nowadays dress, but the whole article next to it was about that girl and how she was by someone that she met on Discord.
But even then, it's not lazy, it's not disrespectful, and it's not wrong to scroll through an article about e-boys and e-girls and somebody who's deceased is complimented. What is this high horse that people are trying to climb? I don't get it. You understand, you don't like Gabbie Hanna. Me neither. But if you're gonna criticize somebody, at least make it valid.
Which is obviously very sad, as we know, and it was blatantly right there. And she just looks at the picture, doesn't read the caption, or she does, she just doesn't care. And she goes, oh my god, I used to have t-shirts like that. Yeah, that'll be good for my aesthetic. And she just goes on about how that's like, oh yeah, we'll just do a look somewhat like that. And she just forgets to realize that that is a murder victim and doesn't address it at all.
Can you explain to me, Angelica, why Gabbie Hanna has to address this? Why is this something she has to address? Why? Why? Because people are leaving comments upset? Because people like yourself are making videos talking about this on why she needs to address having a photo of somebody who has been in her video for less than 7 seconds and she complimented them?
That was me, I would have just cut it out the video. Even if you didn't realize, editing you should have realized that that is such a thing to do. To look at a victim and be like, oh yeah, that t-shirt's nice, I would love to dress like that, yeah, I remember dressing like that, yeah, we'll use that for the e-girl video, and just forgetting to mention the fact that that is literally a girl that isn't here anymore. Oh, it just blows my mind how unaware she is of how of a human being she is. She's just very unaware, or she just doesn't care to be aware. I don't know what it is with Gabbie Hanna, but I'm...
Why, Angelica? Can you explain to me? Can anybody, because I've asked this on social media, I've asked people to clarify how it is shitty to compliment somebody's aesthetic despite them being deceased. Whether they know they're deceased or not, doesn't matter. Whether they are alive, whether they're deceased, why is it wrong to compliment somebody's shirt? Why? Can somebody explain to me your fake, moral, ethical outrage? No, of course you can't. Because there's no explanation that justifies you making a fake mob mentality over something that doesn't matter, that isn't an issue. Making an issue out of a non-issue. I don't like it when people make issues out of a non-issue. And don't get me wrong, I don't like Gabbie Hanna. But you know, part of being unbiased is being able to look at things and to be able to make distinctions between right and wrong. And even if you don't like somebody, if they're being falsely accused of doing something they didn't do originally, in the original video, why do you have to get on camera and act all moral like, oh, she's such a... How shitty of a person can you be to compliment a dead person's shirt? Here's the thing, Angelica. I'll one-up you on that. JFK. He used to be the President of the United States of America. And for those of you who don't know, he was... right dab in the boo-boo-doo. But you know what? I think JF Kennedy of all the presidents that we've had, I think he's fairly sexy. He's a good-looking man. In fact, back when he was president, people thought he was really, really sexy, and even after he was, people complimented he's one of the best-looking presidents of the United States of America. So now that I've complimented the sexiness of a president who is dead, go hit that unsubscribe button on my channel. I want you to write a comment right now, tell me that I'm canceled. You can't support me anymore because I complimented somebody by calling them sexy. Do you see my point? Now, if Gabbie Hanna, in a hypothetical world, if Gabbie Hanna said something like, really mean or about the girl, then I can understand how that would be really offensive and even hurtful to the family. But here's the thing, Angelica. 1 month after your video was made, along with quite a few other different channels, and I Angelica Oles, a channel by the name of Anna Boop, they're like, Gabbie Hanna's such a shitty person for doing this. Gabbie Hanna made a mistake. Gabbie Hanna disrespected the family. But only a month later, the family made a video addressing the controversy because the internet and this fake mob outrage culture demanded Gabbie Hanna apologize. So what did Gabbie Hanna do? Because she was being pressured by so many people, her saying that she's a shitty person because she complimented a girl's shirt. She made an apology video, which was, in my personal opinion, even now, completely, utterly unnecessary. Because this is what happens. If you haven't done something wrong, truly, utterly, right? And the internet comes along and they stick a finger in your face and they tell you you're not good enough, you're a bad person because you're not apologizing for something that you shouldn't even apologize to begin with, because again, she didn't do anything wrong. But you have such pressure as an influencer to apologize for something that you didn't actually do wrong, even though the parents of the family said this.
So we are here because there has been so much controversy and drama over the Gabbie Hanna video where she used Bianca's picture. We just want to say that we were not offended by it at all. We didn't see anything wrong with what she did. She Googled e-girl and pulled up a picture of Bianca. Yes, there was an article about what happened to her, but there wasn't anything.
Simple mistake.
It was a simple mistake. There was nothing disrespectful about it. We didn't feel disrespected. We don't feel Bianca would have been disrespected. We think Bianca would have been honored and so excited that Gabbie Hanna pulled up her picture and was talking about her. Gave her a compliment. They had the same shirt. No one should be offended. No one should be. All these drama channels that are, using Bianca for clout, it's absolutely ridiculous because that's all you're doing.
We are offended about, and you guys also should be.
Yeah.
Not about Gabbie Hanna complimenting her shirt.
Yeah. Gabbie wasn't using Bianca for clout like all these drama channels now want to turn it into something that it's not. She didn't do anything wrong. And even though she didn't do anything wrong, because so many people were offended, she did reach out to me and Olivia and apologize. And we told her there's no reason for an apology because we don't see that you did anything wrong. We were absolutely not offended.
And she continued to post a 15-minute video about how she is sorry, which she did not at all have to do. But
exactly. So we think what you guys should be offended by is, number one, these people using this simple Google search and bring up Bianca's picture is now other people want to bring about drama and use Bianca's death for clout. And let's also be offended by the fact that, when Bianca passed, these social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram allowed people to exploit Bianca's death by uploading these horrifically graphic pictures of her and spread them around. They were constantly uploaded and shared, and they were all over Instagram and Facebook. And when they were being reported, we were told they weren't going against community standards. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's unacceptable. Social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram need to be held accountable for what they allow on their platforms. Platforms are making money off of my daughter's death photos. That's something that you should be angry about. Be angry about a 17-year-old minor girl's death being exploited and what our family had to go through with those pictures being all over the internet, and people, these disgusting people
who want the picture and who want to keep spreading the picture around the internet. That's who you should be offended by.
Why did so many drama channels ignore this? As a legitimate question, I don't know why so many channels ignored this particular clip by the family, which came out and spoke in defense of their deceased daughter, saying that Gabbie Hanna didn't do anything wrong. Why didn't anybody make retractions? Why didn't people unlist their videos or, remove and say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have called somebody a shitty person when the parents of the family who's lost their relative said it's okay and that that Bianca would have been honored that Gabbie shouted her out. But no, you know what? It doesn't suit a narrative. It doesn't suit moral outrage culture. And don't get me wrong, there are times where outrage culture is acceptable depending on what is done. But in this particular case with Gabbie Hanna, there's so much hatred towards her that even if she doesn't do something wrong, you still make it out to be she did something wrong. And I take issue with that because then you're not being authentic. You're being completely biased because you dislike somebody simply because you dislike them so much. And even if something is falsely accused of them, it suits a narrative of simply pushing this because, well, it makes them look bad, even if it's not true. And regardless of how much I dislike Gabbie Hanna, that's not how I operate. Everybody deserves to have their side, to be able to express themselves, to be able to vocalize their perspective, regardless of how much I dislike them. And then if you intentionally ignore this is the problem I have with drama channels, and I'm not categorizing everybody, right? But the majority of these drama channels don't link their sources or cite the sources or videos that they're talking about. And most of them, when new information comes forward, they don't cover that unless it suits a narrative that they want to push towards somebody they don't like. You want to hear an example of something that may blow the internet? I'm known as that Onision guy, the guy who covers Onision. And despite how much I hate that guy, despite him taking me falsely to court, I do not support people going to his house and doxing him or egging his house. That's a thing. I don't like him, but I don't support that. I'm able to make a distinction that that's really screwed up. As much as I dislike the guy, as much as he's a piece of shit, that's wrong. Okay? And this is kind of the same type of situation in which people calling for an apology from Gabbie for not doing something wrong, for just complimenting a girl's shirt, that's unjustified. And anybody who tried to use this as an attack measure on her, you really need to either A, unlist her video, or just remove it, or issue a statement or something, because you look like a piece of shit. You truly do. Especially after the fact that the parents spoke out and said she didn't do anything wrong, but you still leave up videos that are trying to condemn her for something, again, that she didn't do wrong. In today's video, I defended Gabbie Hanna because of her apology, and while looking for a thumbnail, I came across the tag she put on that apology. I regret being nice now. Angelica, is this really your argument against Gabbie Hanna because she used tags of other people who have made videos about her, and she tagged in her apology channels that had talked about the situation and given her shit for including and complimenting a girl's shirt who has been deceased? What is wrong with that? That falls perfectly in line with YouTube. Literally, if somebody makes videos about me and I make a video response, we're having video exchanges, or I apologize, or whatever it be, I'm allowed to tag in the description the channels that are talking about me. That's how everybody does that. That's very normal on YouTube. How is this even an argument against Gabbie? This is ridiculous. Again, I'm super critical of Gabbie throughout the rest of this video, and I point out lies and things that are just, they're bad, but be fair a little bit. This is going too far. The amount of stretching you're trying to make here over a year ago is just, and I didn't even know about this stuff until I started digging into it. It's very, very disingenuous and is clearly a bias towards this person, regardless of them even making an apology. Oh my gosh, they tagged your channel. They tagged another channel. How dare they do that? What is this? The petty high school? Come on. But here's the thing where Gabbie also screws up, because Gabbie made a response to the whole Bianca Devin stuff. And this is where it gets messy and complicated. And we gotta go to Twitter for some of this because it gets jumbled all over the place. And we're gonna go in the order of tweets and videos. Because although I'm defending Gabbie in this instant, I'm also gonna be critical because she kind of took it too far at the same time. So that's the thing. On one hand, I'm I agree with Gabbie on this. But then it's well, you took it a little too far. Now you're trying to push it a little too hard, in my opinion.
Because everybody was like telling me a certain way to act. There was just like so much confusion. I don't feel like a bad person anymore. I just don't think that I'm for everybody, because I respond to things differently and I interpret differently and I communicate differently, and it helps me understand my mood a lot because of mood swings that come with that and the complications with kind of regulating your impulsivity or your emotions. Now I know that I'm not this awful person that everybody said I am. I'm just different than you. I responded to a lot of stuff the way that it made sense for me to respond to. And because it wasn't the way that you felt comfortable with, everybody said that I was like a bad person, or like a monster, or a manipulative person, or soulless, or sociopath. I think that's where we need to open up a conversation again of understanding that you may not like the way that somebody behaves or the way somebody handled a situation, but you don't get to dictate other people. You don't understand what's going on with them. Or
Gabbie. You're right. You don't get to dictate how people respond or how people react. So my question to you is, what about all of those children that you threatened to sue? Are we forgetting about that? Or are we just going to completely ignore the fact that you went into a Discord of a bunch of people underage, a small Discord of under like 150 users, and you threatened to sue children? You've got to be shitting me, Gabbie. Come on. Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a heads up about the lawsuit. For those under 18, your parents will be contacted. It's not about scaring, guys. It's slander. An ex-fan replies, it's not slander at all if I have the proof. All we did was explain our experience on a private Discord that hasn't been posted publicly on any other platform. I'm coming in as an adult, and I'm giving you guys a heads up. I have your socials, which has your IP addresses. Yes, as opposed to them reaching out to people to get to you, because that's how it works if you don't have public info. Again, guys, this isn't a threat at all. I don't want to see anyone in trouble. How about we agree not to talk to you or about you any more publicly and move on? Would you sign papers to hold you to that? Because I'm okay with that. Okay, guys, you will need a parent or whoever your legal guardian is to sign it. If you don't want to, I'll have the lawyers get it, and that's totally fine. You're asking for kids' private emails over sending some screenshots? This is too much. You don't get to dictate how people think or react, and yet you intentionally infiltrate a Discord with very few members, and you start suggesting that you're gonna get them to sign an NDA so they can't talk about you in a Discord? Are you kidding me right now? You can't dictate how people respond, and yet you're threatening children. This blows my mind to its core. The messages that you leave and threaten is just the most insane thing. I've never even seen somebody threaten to sue kids before. Like, of all the things that you've done and said, this is like icing on the cake for me. You going out of your way to go into a Discord with hardly anybody in it to threaten kids legally. Ooh, boo-hoo, what are you gonna do? Threaten legally me too? I always have to sit back and laugh when people make legal threats like this. What are you gonna do next? You know, message all the kids' Facebook, moms and dads on Facebook and say, you make your kids sign an NDA that they can't talk about Gabbie Hanna, or they can't have a private Discord talking about how much they dislike me because I can't handle it. Haha, my ADHD, haha, my autism, haha, my neurodivergency, haha, whatever it is you have. And you keep linking on the screen, my impulsivity, my this, my that, my this, my this. I don't give a fuck what you have, Gabbie. And for me, personally, I feel like you putting all these things on the screen, ADHD, autism, neurodivergency, whatever, I feel like you're stigmatizing mental health, personally. That's just my opinion. People can feel free to disagree with it. Like, there's no reason to put, like, ADHD and all these things up on the screen for, like, this is why I react the way that I do, or this is the way that I respond the way that I do. Can that explain behaviors? Absolutely. Can that explain why you may think certain ways and react certain ways? Absolutely. But you can't use that as a reason to treat people poorly, okay? You can't use disorders, you can't use mental illness as a way to justify being a bad person. I don't like it when people do that. And for some reason, it seems to be becoming more of a core issue on YouTube of people saying, well, it's because I have this, it's because I have that. Well, you know what? I have depression, okay? And you know what? Sometimes I'm an asshole, but I'm an asshole sometimes not because I have depression, it's because I don't like a lot of people. I don't trust a lot of people. I've been hurt by a lot of people. in my real life. If I'm gonna be an asshole, it's because I'm gonna be an asshole, not because I have depression. Stop using ADHD, neurodivergency, or whatever thing that you think that you have or do have or have been diagnosed with. Stop using that in an argument for why you react or respond poorly to things.
How they process things. Everybody has a different point of view. So just because it doesn't align with yours doesn't make it wrong. I just feel it like at some point our tolerance for people being different and having different personalities and traits went out the window. And it was just like, you're not like us. That is groupthink. That is so dangerous. People saying we all need to think the same. And if you do not think the same as us, we're going to attack you. And anybody who agrees with that person and dares to speak it, we're going to attack you too. People are silenced and people are threatened and bullied into silence.
Gabbie, that's so ironic coming from you. Bullied and silenced. What did you do to those kids in Discord again? You're not gonna escape this. Like, you can't talk about bullying and silencing people and then threaten to sue children, dude. Like, do you not hear yourself? The social awareness is like just floating away from you. You scream bully, 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 bully. But a lot of your responses to other people are exactly what you're accusing others of doing. Bully. You a bully, you a bully, you a bully. Bully, 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 bully. Like, God, I hate that word.
Don't bully me, Daniel!
Your own definition of bullying, Gabbie, can equally be applied to Dom the Bomb, which I covered briefly in my last video, but I'll just summarize it for you. Essentially, this guy got on, they were doing a hot or not dating game, and Gabbie Hanna's photo comes up and he says, she's not my type. And she took immediate offense to this and made several live streams on Instagram, on Twitter, calling him a misogynist, that he is sexist, and that he publicly degraded her. Although the only thing the guy said was, she's not my type, man. And your reaction was to like call him all these sorts of names because he said, she's not my type. Isn't that what a bully does? You have a bully accusing other people of bullying. What gives, Gabbie? What gives at this point? Because you're not really making a strong case for yourself.
And then nobody's standing up for what's right, because in standing up for what's right,
volatile
people will rile
volatile
people. Just calming myself down. My heart is like pounding right now. Not because I'm anxious, because I'm angry. I am still angry, and I feel like I've processed so many of my sad emotions over the last few months on that vlog channel, but I've not processed a lot of the anger. And I think a lot of that is coming up because it's one of those things where, like, if I put this out and the response from the people who hurt me and who were fronting a smear campaign against me were to say, well, we didn't know, so that's why we were so cruel. You shouldn't have to know somebody's mental state or mental health or neurological makeup to be a kind, empathetic person who tries to see the best in people instead of the worst. The groupthink is so dangerous because you don't get to tell people how to feel or how to react in a situation that you have never experienced. How is somebody supposed to act when they're being falsely accused of exploiting a murdered child? What is the appropriate response to that? Now, I didn't respond at first because it's not true. It was a false accusation grounded in literally fucking nothing. I apologized for a situation that I should not have apologized for, and I'm going to stand my ground on this, because while I am sorry that the family had to deal with this, this was not my fault. If the drama channels and the tabloids, these are tabloids that you guys are taking as fact just because they're on video format and because a person that you like is delivering it to you, this was a slanderous lie that caused the family so much trauma. And the family has gotten on camera and said that they were hurt by what these people did to them.
We
didn't see anything wrong with what she did. She Googled e-girl and pulled up a picture of Bianca. Simple mistake. It was a simple mistake. There was nothing disrespectful about it. We didn't feel disrespected. We don't feel Bianca would have been disrespected. We think Bianca would have been honored and so excited that Gabbie Hanna pulled up her picture and was talking about her. They were a compliment. You know, they had the same shirt. No one should be offended. No one should be. All these drama channels that are using Bianca for clout is absolutely ridiculous. That's all you're doing. We are offended about, and you guys also should be. Yeah. Not about Gabbie Hanna complimenting her shirt. Yeah. Gabbie wasn't using Bianca for clout like all these drama channels now want to turn it into something that it's not. She didn't do anything wrong. And even though she didn't do anything wrong, because so many people were offended, she did reach out to me and Olivia and apologize. And we told her there's no reason for an apology because we don't see that you did anything wrong. So we think what you guys should be offended by is now other people want to bring about drama and use Bianca's death for clout. And these disgusting people that are exploiting my daughter's death for clout and likes and
follows and profit.
And there has not been an apology from them. That to me is infuriating. All I did was scroll through an article on a YouTube video that happened to have a picture of a girl who was murdered. If I was this age, this would be me.
100%.
For sure. This outfit right here is straight up what I wore from 7th grade to college.
And now.
And now. I do have that shirt. That is what I did. That was my crime that I lost a record deal over. That I lost sponsors over. That I lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers over. That I lost.
Gabbie, I have a question. Do you have evidence or any emails to back up that you lost sponsors due to this ordeal? I don't know. I just find that, and maybe I'm wrong. I just find it really hard to believe that you lost sponsors over the fact that you included what you did in 7 seconds and you complimented somebody's shirt. I just see that as really hard to believe. But hey, I could be completely wrong. I know how cancel culture works. Some people do reach out to sponsors and try to get people's sponsors taken away. That is a thing that's happened. However, if a sponsor has dropped you because of this situation, I would love to see evidence for that just so I can confirm that this really did happen, because if so, then that's completely, utterly wrong and unjustified.
Friends over, that I lost job opportunities over, that I lost months of my life over in a deep spiraling depression because this was such a heavy situation that you guys used, and I'm addressing the drama channels directly. You used the murder of a child to exploit me, and that is disgusting. You used me as a shield, accusing me of exploiting Bianca Devon's name, face, and story for money and clicks, when all I ever did was for a fraction of a fucking moment show her picture and say I liked her t-shirt. You, on the other hand, plastered her name and her face across your thumbnails and your titles and reduced her to a murder victim who Gabbie Hanna exploited by showing her picture, having no knowledge of the situation that happened, and you gaslighting me into saying that I did know because I couldn't have possibly missed it because it was written right next to it, right? I didn't read the fucking article. I was looking at pictures, and you knew that, Angelica Oles. And everybody else who started that rumor and went with that story and exploited a murdered teenager to the point that her dead body, the photos of her dead body that were taken by her murderer and posted on the internet were being sent to her fucking mother and sister. You did that, not me.
Gabbie, you had me. I agreed with you up until this exact moment. You just answered your very own accusations. Here you are, Gabbie, and you're attempting to blame drama channels for the spreading of a photo of her being deceased. And I'm here today to correct that, Gabbie Hanna. This is an absolute lie. This is factually untrue. I don't like Angelica Oles. I don't like a lot of these drama channels either. But I watched a lot of these videos that I talked about in this video, and in no place did these channels include the deceased photo. There was a deceased photo of this girl. I didn't see any. What I do know, is that the person who took her life posted this photo to 4chan, and then the photo spread like wildfire on Twitter, social media, Facebook, Instagram. I remember when this happened, I saw this photo of this innocent, beautiful girl be spread all over the internet. a photo of somebody who is... It's vile, vile, vile stuff. Drama channels were not responsible for a leaked photo of somebody being deceased. They're absolutely not responsible for that. You know, I can criticize these drama channels, but I also can see the distinction between they're not responsible for the photo leaking. Because the person who posted the photo was actually the perpetrator of the crime. He posted that to the internet. And these social media sites that allowed this photo to be posted and not removed, that's the problem. That's the issue. Drama channels, T channels, are not responsible for a leaked photo of somebody being deceased being posted on the internet. And this just goes to show what you're trying to do. Like, I agreed with you up until this point, Gabbie, that any channels that tried to, you know, hammer you for that 7-second clip and make a mountain over a molehill, a non-issue, into an issue, they're guilty of that. And if they never retracted, unlisted their video, or apologized, or at least updated their description, like, hey, you know, here's the family, they corrected the information, Gabbie didn't do anything wrong, that's awesome if they did that, but most of them haven't done that. That's the problem. And in regards to that context, you're right, Gabbie. But this whole other blame game, you're responsible for the leaked photo of the perpetrator being spread. No, you're falsifying accusations, trying to blame people for things they didn't actually do.
She has said that she was harmed by you, that you exploited her daughter, and you have not apologized. And I have, for her sake, because she was getting so much shit just from you guys talking about it and exploiting her in that way. I did the right thing. I went in silently and tried to hide it and blur it to calm people down over it quietly, because this should have never been news. Did you donate any of the money you made on those videos to the foundation that I have put out publicly, that I've called you to donate to? That's fine. Nobody can take your money from you. You earn that money, you do whatever you want. But you need to apologize to Bianca's mother. And I know that I will never get an apology from you for what you did to me, for gaslighting me, for making me the scapegoat to your disgusting exploitation. I know I will never get that, and that is okay. Share the petition to enact laws so that this can never happen again with your audience. Hold yourself accountable to the same standards that you hold everybody else. What they did was evil, and they profited off of it, and then they're posting about their Teslas. Angelica Oles, you started this thing. You absolutely, above all, need to take accountability for that. Apologize to the family. They're deeply hurt and were deeply affected, and were faced with the images of their daughter's dead body because of you.
Yeah, that's just factually incorrect. Having watched Angelica's original video, and as bad as it is, she wasn't responsible for leaked photos of the deceased being spread. I know you're really trying to push a narrative here, Gabbie, which to an extent the narrative is true, but then at the center point, then you lose me, because then you're just exaggerating and dramatizing something that they didn't actually do.
And the campaign that you spearheaded. Apologize. Send this petition to your followers. Dustin Daly, The Viewer's Voice, Repzilla, Anna Oop, Spill Sesh, all the rest of you who are too cowardly to put your face behind your name, you need to issue an apology. You need to issue a retraction. You need to share this petition with your audience and let them know that what you did is not okay, but that they can help ensure that it will never happen again. Or you can also admit that you actually don't hold yourself to the same standards that you hold everybody else to, and that you don't actually care about Bianca. And you don't care about Bianca's family, because you started a campaign that hurt her tremendously, and then you never apologized, you never donated the money, you never helped share the petition that could actually help her family and future families who have to go through something this horrible.
So linked down below in the description is the petition and the donation link to the Bianca Devins Family Fund for this. Because believe it or not, I actually support this 100%. Photos of somebody who is deceased, I don't know why social media, especially, I don't know if you know this, but Facebook is terrible. I have seen some really screwed up images posted on Facebook of like photos that should not even be on the internet, but they're on the internet. And I remember when this whole Bianca situation happened and the original photos were posted all over Twitter, I was seeing it pop up in Twitter, right? Just like in my feed. And it was like, why is this happening? How is this allowed? And there is a case to be made that I don't know how it would be done legally. I don't know how social media sites could actually implement a way to utilize, well, they have the technology to do it. It's all AI bots, I guess, essentially. But I agree with the Devins family. This is something that actually does need to be stopped. I don't know how. The link down below in the description is the petition. Sign it. I donated myself to this campaign already, and I would suggest anybody who feels for the family to check the petition out. Donate yourself. Everything's linked down below in the description box. But we're not done yet, because this is where things get messy, and this is where I have to call out Gabbie Hanna even more. Because after this video was posted, stuff happened on Twitter, and we got some new information that was revealed about this whole ordeal. And this is just kind of like a mind screw, and just kind of makes you sit back and ask, like, what is happening right now? We're getting information on both sides that are conflicting. So after Gabbie Hanna called out a bunch of YouTube channels that talked about the Bianca situation and tried to criticize Gabbie for including that 7-second clip complimenting her shirt, another YouTuber by the name of Ready to Glare, fantastic channel by the way, highly recommend you subscribe, unlisted her video and made a video directly to the Devins family. And this is where things get kind of go off the rails. Kim Devins responds, "I saw this, thank you. I've also contacted her to thank you for the apology, but it wasn't necessary. She didn't harm us." Notice this key point, she didn't harm us. Yet Gabbie in the original video is claiming that Ready to Glare, several other people's names, including Angelica, harmed Kim Devins' family. Ready to Glare says, "All I'm going to say is an alleged family member friend of Bianca Devins messaged me at the time all the news was coming out and told me that the family didn't want videos, so I didn't film one. The only time I mentioned the Devins was when I critiqued another creator for being irresponsible." Now, you guys already know my thoughts on this. I don't think it was irresponsible to compliment somebody's shirt for 7 seconds. But then Gabbie responds to Ready to Glare on Twitter by saying, "A real, not alleged family member would like a public apology in a video format and for you to share the petition and scholarship fund. We speak very regularly, and I'm positive you would at least do the right thing by Bianca and her family." So right here in this tweet, Gabbie Hanna is speaking for the family. And then you see on the other hand, Kim is responding saying that she wasn't harmed by Ready to Glare's video and that an apology wasn't even necessary. Do you see the tiny little hole in this problem? And at least in the way that I see it, is Gabbie Hanna is using this situation to try to force apologies out towards the family, or maybe, in retrospect, Gabbie Hanna herself, from people who she thinks have wronged her. But the biggest call out in Gabbie's video was she referenced Angelica Oles. Now, Angelica Oles reached out to Bianca's family and uploaded a video called Gabbie Hanna Lied. Angelica Oles made a direct video response in response to Gabbie Hanna in this situation. Upon making that video, Gabbie Hanna says that Angelica crossed a boundary and reached out to her. She told her personally that she felt I deserved an apology, not her. Kim has never expressed that sentiment to me, and I did not expect it. I have told anyone that contacted me that I approve the video. When Ready to Glare contacted me, I watched the original video and didn't see anything wrong with it. I also told her that Angelica Oles thought that you were owed an apology, not me. I felt Bianca was being used to get to you, Angelica. I just got off the phone with Kim. She told me she specifically asked Angelica Oles to drop it and not share screenshots because she didn't want her to continue to use Bianca's death as a way to hurt me. Angelica Oles tried to manipulate Kim. Kim said, I just felt awkward and was being nice. Angelica Oles tweeted on Twitter, Kim Devins gave me permission to share this message she sent me. This is my last statement on the situation. Which I said, I didn't feel like you harmed my family. She replies, I'm so sorry about all this, so thank you so much. That Gabbie Hanna called out Angelica Oles and other YouTube channels saying that the mother is demanding an apology from these people. She named these people by name, saying that the mother is demanding them apologize. All the while, we've established that the mother didn't even know who Angelica was, and that she wasn't hurt by Angelica. And that Ready to Glare didn't do anything wrong either to the family. Do you see why this is so confusing and convoluted? Because it feels like to me, and this is my opinion of the situation, you have the mother who is being kind of propped up by Gabbie, propped up by this people, because information is being said to Gabbie, right? Gabbie is saying information, speaking for the mom, and that information is going out onto the internet. And with that, Gabbie is accusing other people of things, i.e. exploiting somebody's, death. I think the word exploit is the wrong word to be using personally. But then when Angelica wants to seek out more additional information, Gabbie Hanna gets extremely upset by that, because then the mother is telling conflicting information with Angelica that kind of contradicts what she's telling Gabbie, and it's messy, dude. I don't like the mother being put in between people and then like being brought in, and YouTube drama has to keep bringing this up and trying to force her to make statements on things that she shouldn't even have to be dealing with. On that same day, Kim Devins tweeted out this. Do I want public apologies? No, but Gabbie Hanna deserves the apologies for being attacked after I put it out that I wasn't offended by her video. All of this should have ended when I said I wasn't bothered by Gabbie using Bianca's picture. Just so you know, if Gabbie Hanna posts something about Bianca, I have approved it. As Bianca would say, shut the fuck up and act like adults. Let's move to more important things like Bianca's law. As everybody wants to bring up Bianca's name and defend her, let's talk about who really exploited Bianca's for money. Instagram and Facebook, who allowed her photos to be shared for an entire year on their platform. Hashtag justice for Bianca. Well, look, no matter who you think is wrong or right in this situation, I'm going to mediate both sides and say my final piece because I don't want to talk about this anymore. Angelica Oles, your original video on Gabbie Hanna calling her a shit person for complimenting a girl's shirt originally, you should probably update the description of that video or clarify or something that the family said that she didn't do anything wrong. Gabbie Hanna, you uploaded a 10-minute video screaming and screeching about Angelica making a video response reaching out to the mother wanting additional information because all of this is really confusing. This YouTube drama in regards to putting the mother in the middle and forcing her to talk about things that she shouldn't be having to talk about because of petty YouTube drama because you can't let things go makes you look crazy. I understand that wrongdoing was done to you originally in the original video, and the people who wronged you have to make amends for that if they ever choose to do so. But trying to proposition the mother to force apologies out of people, which the mother confirmed 2 people didn't actually harm them, but you're claiming that they did harm the family. That's the problem. And the subject needs to be dropped. Both parties shut the fuck up. This isn't a I need to win match, because that's what it feels like to me.
It's intermission time. Time for refreshment. During the next 10 minutes, you're invited to visit the refreshment stand, where you'll be greeted with fast, friendly service. You'll find hot dogs, juicy hamburgers, and mouth-watering delicious pizza.
Hello there, intermission time. This video is over an hour in length. This is my cat, Dennis. He does not like being held. This is very awkward. He is a little raccoon loaf. There we go, there we go, there we go, Dennis. You smell so good. He has a cute little bow tie. Look at this. He is a perfect little gentleman. Look at that. Look at that. He is my little raccoon friend. He is very sweet. Very scared of everything, though. So this next segment, Gabbie Hanna put herself in some of the hottest water I've ever seen. She made a video about Escape the Nightmare, which was a YouTube Red TV series. She was on season 2 and they filmed season 4, and she made a video talking about that experience and things that she experienced on that TV show, in which a lot of people had a lot of things to say about her on the set. But what I find so weird about this whole situation is that Gabbie Hanna gets on camera and starts, throwing accusations and throwing people under the bus, but most of all, lying about people and the situation that she was in. Very, very blatant lying, because what she did here is she triggered a ripple effect, because the people who she's claiming all these things about released statements of their own, and 2 videos were uploaded in response to her causing drama and spreading misinformation and lies about these people. Go figure, if you're gonna misrepresent and skew things and try to make yourself look like a victim, all these other people come forward and start putting you on blast for the lies that you're spewing in order to push a narrative that isn't true. But that's Gabbie Hanna, isn't it?
Because this situation was really and I've always kept it between us, because I feel like professional and personal relationships should not be public, period. And that's why I've never spoken up about shit. So because this is something that has been said behind the scenes by people I thought were friends for years, and I was made a mockery of by people I thought were friends for years, and then they went on publicly to throw me under the bus after pretending to be my friend for years, and as soon as it was like an opportunistic moment, just be like, she was a nightmare to work with.
Season 4, Gabbie, I had issues with her. I also had issues with her on season 2. I don't think I've ever said her name publicly, but it's not really news to anyone. She was miserable to work with for the most part. There were good moments. If she was great on camera, which she was, and she was very entertaining, I forget about all that shit. And then season 4, she was a nightmare. I'm not going to expand upon that because I don't really care anymore. It was just hard. There were a lot of diva antics. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of unprofessional behavior. It was miserable, but it turned out entertaining on the show, so I can't really hold that against her.
So I want to talk about Daniel Prada, and in relation I have to talk about Joey, because Joey also talked shit about me publicly.
Oh, there was one in season 4 too.
Really?
Sure. Yeah, that was season 4 was my least favorite to film by far.
Why?
Just because
Drama.
of this one person on the cast who just made it hell.
Really?
Is it true that there was drama on the set of season 4?
Yeah, absolutely.
How was Gabbie?
Gabbie was very competitive. She
would be.
She was. Like, I wasn't
feel like
expecting
she's lost some weight and is looking
No,
good now.
she was Miss Bitch.
I would never play Mafia with her. You know that game?
I wouldn't play any game with her. She'll own up to the fact that she was a little nasty on set sometime.
Gabbie, you have one of the most skewed visions of quote-unquote talking shit, especially involving Joey Graceffa here. As somebody who has watched his channel for years, he really is like, a couple of these people actually I'm going to be mentioning here, they're some of the least controversial, dramatic people on the platform. And what I mean by this is like they don't have like hardly any drama. They don't participate in trying to spew or cause drama with other people. They've had a really successful, clean career for the most part. But Joey, in these clips, they mentioned, you know, there's some drama on season 4 of the show. He didn't even mention you by name. Okay? Now, if he mentioned you by name, then obviously you're allowed to respond to that. But the fact is, he went out of his way to not mention you by name, and you still take issue with that. Like, people are not allowed to voice their experience that they have with you if it's negative. Like, if they do that, they're bad people. They're talking shit. Why are people not allowed to talk about the negative experiences that they've had with you? And another thing you need to wake the fuck up with, Gabbie, is that if almost every fucking single one of your goddamn friends that you claim are friends, if nearly everyone, and I mean everyone in the YouTube sphere, has an issue with you, has a story about you, is detaching and wants nothing to do with you. Because what we find out from Daniel Prada, whatever his name is, and Joey Graceffa, is that you're a pathological fucking liar. And I don't mean just a small one. I'm talking about a big 9,000 power level liar in which you desperately try to paint people out to be something that they're not and taint their name in order to make yourself look like a fucking victim. All of the time. You brought these people into a situation, at least Joey, and then you go silent. I wonder why. I want to remind you, if all your friends are becoming ex-friends, there's probably a reason for it. Maybe do some self-internalization, some self-reflecting, and realize that you actually may be the fucking problem, not everybody else around you. But you know, when dealing with actual narcissists, when attention is taken away from them, they have to make it about them under all circumstances. They can't deal with the fact that attention is being drawn away and people are forgetting or not talking about them in some context. Trust me, I've dealt with it myself.
Right.
Because like I still have to deal with the repercussions of this. This situation was actually like for real, and it's embarrassing to admit because I feel like there's this very public theme when it comes to my life of me thinking people were my friends who weren't. Dude, it's just embarrassing. Again, my heart's pounding, but I've held this shit in, and like the fact that my heart is pounding about it right now, like I don't want to, dude, I don't want to live with this shit anymore. It fucking sucks for real, because like this for real dead ass is not what I want. Like I feel like I've made it pretty clear that this is not what I want, because if this is what I wanted, like I would have done this shit years ago. Like all I wanted to do for real was just work on my music and do that. But it's like every few months is something new, and this is one that hurt me so much because I truly for real thought Joey and Daniel were like my real friends.
Well, they were your real friends, but guess what, Gabbie? Here's a nuclear take for the internet. If you treat somebody shitty over and over and over and make problems in their not only career, but in their life, no matter how good a friend they are, and you're causing problems, and you're treating people like garbage, they're not gonna wanna be your friends anymore. That's how friendships work. You don't just have an ex-friend usually. Usually there's something has to happen in order to have an ex-friend. And how many ex-friends do you have at this point, Gabbie? Like, on the realistic number scale.
So I'm gonna go over some of the points that she made in her video that are just completely false and give you guys the receipts to back that up. But before we get into those points, I do wanna let you guys know that Gabbie and I were close friends. So when she acts like the victim and is wondering why all these people in her life who claim to be her friends are no longer her friends, you do things, Gabbie, to make people not be your friends. What you did to me on Escape the Night is the reason we are no longer friends and the reason why I talked badly about you being on Escape the Night. Just because we were friends before that doesn't contractually make me obligated to never say anything bad about you or never not be your friend because we were friends in the past. You did this. You ended our friendship, not me. The way that you acted on set of Escape the Night is why we are no longer friends. And if you want an example of what a friend is like on set of a production of your friend, take some advice from Colleen, who literally gave birth months before, showed up on set, was breastfeeding, went home after hours on set to her baby waking up and then having to be a mom and then coming to set the next day and doing it all over again. And the crazy thing is, Colleen was my #1 support system. Being on set of a production that's millions of dollars and having all this pressure is a lot. But Colleen didn't complain once, and she was my #1 supporter, making me feel good about things and helping me de-stress and telling me that everything was gonna be okay. Meanwhile, you, who's also my friend, is making life on set a living hell by being disrespectful and rude and mean and foul to not only cast, but crew, screaming at the director, demanding things, and calling a production assistant a dumb cunt is not how you act on set of one of your friends, not even just your friend, any set.
So this was a knife to the heart. So here's how it happened. My agent reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do Escape the Night season 4. I had done season 2 and I did not enjoy the experience at all. And I told my agent I did not want to do it, and I told him my reasons, which were I was really dealing with a lot of very bad mental health issues, and my eating disorder was at an all-time peak. This was around the time of the monster meme, the Kenza Cosmetics thing. There was a lot of shit going on. And also, I did not like the first experience that I was there. First time I signed on to do it, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm dying to do this. But I didn't expect my reaction in that type of work environment, and it was like not good. Like, I was just unprofessional. Dude, a lot of people have a lot of stories about me being unprofessional. I promise you that. Like, there's no shortage of them. I used to be really difficult to work with.
You also claim that ADHD is the biggest reason that you acted the way you did on set. But just so you know, half the cast had ADHD and did not act in the way that you did. So I'm sorry, but that is not an excuse.
And probably in the wrong setting, I'm still really difficult to work with. Acting, especially like stuff on sets, it's just something that I personally cannot do. If I'm sitting still for too long, I need to fucking do something. Doing a shoot like that, where it's like you're there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day, most of it is sitting around doing nothing. MTV honestly probably could tell some stories about me too. I did not treat my mental health in that way because I didn't understand it. I wish I understood this shit about myself, because I really did ruin a lot of opportunities and like possible business relationships. The first time, like, I was really embarrassed about like the way I acted. I was like super bitchy. I didn't like the working hours. I didn't like the working conditions. My call time for that was like 12 for like hair and makeup. We would start shooting at 7 or 8 and then wrap around like 3, 4, sometimes 5 in the morning. There was literally no sleep. I cannot function like that. I'm sure there's like very professional actors who do that. In fact, like Colleen literally had like a baby on set and she managed, you know what I mean? I can't.
Okay, cool. You've admitted that you're really unprofessional, that you were bitchy, that a lot of things that people have expressed of their experience with you is very, very, very true. And you just admitted that you can't manage these types of schedules and things. And if you can't manage that, that is your responsibility to work around that type of schedule. Then don't agree to it, especially at the fact that you're being paid, by the way. Imagine being on set. I don't care if you have ADHD, but imagine that you're being on set and sitting around doing nothing and you're being paid. Wow. That's a really great opportunity to have to be on a successful show that got millions and millions of views, had millions of dollars in budgeting and funds, and yet here you are. I can't manage. If you can't manage it, then you are responsible for making a schedule for what you can and can't manage.
That's why when my agent came back to me and was like, they want you to do season 4, I said, dude, I can't. Like, it was not an enjoyable experience for me. I do not want to embarrass myself like that again. So then Joey and Daniel are like, please, we really want you to be a part of the show. We loved you in season 2. You looked beautiful. Like, you brought so much like shit to it. Tell us what you need to make you feel comfortable, and we'll make sure you have it.
I also never begged or pleaded for Gabbie to be a part of the show. Yes, I wanted her to be in it because she was my friend at the time. She was going through a lot of shit. A lot of people did not like her, still don't like her. But I was her friend and I wasn't seeing through the bullshit that everybody else was picking up on. And as a supportive friend, I wanted to give her this opportunity to be on a show that has thousands of fans and the opportunity to be on this platform that has like a billboard and a lot of respect towards it. So excuse me for giving you this opportunity, hiring you on a project that means so much to me. So I'm sorry that I was being a good friend and inviting you to be a part of something bigger, but go ahead, live in your delusional world.
And I laid it out pretty clearly. In each meal, I need a protein, a carb, and a vegetable. I sent specific meals just so there was no like question. And I was promised that that would happen. That was important to me. I also brought up that I was extremely uncomfortable the first season. My dress was very restrictive. I couldn't lift my arms. Like, that gives me severe anxiety. Like, dude, I'm a very fragile person, I know. But that's my point, is like, I'm very forthcoming about that with pretty much everyone in my life, because I'm trying to set boundaries and communicate clearly, this is how I am feeling. If you still insist, because I'm working on that, but like, I don't respect my own boundaries. So if you insist and you're like, please do this, and I agree, and I'm giving you these very clear things that I need to meet my dietary restrictions, which, by the way, is not weird for any type of actor or talent on set to have a request like dietary needs. That's a very personal thing. Some people need vegan food on set, some people need gluten-free. I needed something that was fitting the needs of my eating disorder. Just like, you're a horrible, toxic person. And I'm like, was I? Because like, I feel like what happened is exactly what I told you was gonna happen. But that's why that was such an upsetting situation for me, because I was hearing that behind the scenes for a long time. And I was hearing that he was like playing out voice notes of me being upset that there wasn't like the proper food on set.
Then you go into your eating disorder and the whole food situation. Every single person is sent a form days before we start filming to get people's medical information and their allergies and any food restrictions. Gabbie didn't fill this out until the day we were on set. Miss Gabbie, can we do a little BTS moment? How is she? Look at, she's got her yellow hair on.
We're doing that.
She's practicing her script.
Filling out my medical information.
You're supposed to fill this out beforehand so we can get everything prepared and make sure that we have your dietary restrictions accounted for. So I don't understand how you expect things to be done for you when you don't do the work yourself. And I also would like to just take a minute to defend Daniel, who literally went above and beyond for not only you, but everybody else on set. He had a million things going on, and yet he still managed to have the time to go to Whole Foods and get you your 3 healthy meals that were so specific of like exactly what you needed, and yet you still didn't even eat them. You literally just left them out to rot. So what was it that you were actually trying to do, Gabbie? Was it that you actually needed the healthy meals, or were you just trying to be difficult? Because I think you were just trying to be difficult and throw around some power.
So here's the thing. Daniel Preda uploaded an hour-long video showing multiple text messages of things that she left out, and showed her how much they catered to her actual needs and demands. Because the whole rant about this is Daniel and Joey, and she's talking about how they didn't help her in the ways that she needed. They didn't cater to her demands and needs, even though she was forthcoming about these things. But then as more text messages are released of what actually went on behind the scenes, you'll realize you can't get on camera and whine about, my dress didn't fit, when you intentionally ignore or disregard the fact that people tried to meet up with you in order to get a proper size fitting. But you didn't show up. You had somebody drive all the way out to you just so you weren't available. Like, oh my God, you have an entire team of people all trying to work around you. That's not how it works. When you're on set with multiple people, it's a team thing. You're not a team, Gabbie. You're a solo little narcissist. Like, I need this. I can't work around this. Well, everybody's working together as a team. You're going solo, and then you attempt to blame. I hate this. Then you attempt to blame them on your eating problem. Like, what? I couldn't deal with that either. Like, oh my God. The level of maintenance, and then you try to blame people for your own problems. It's like, wow, you know, take a little bit of accountability, which you do in this video, but then you also kind of project and deflect. Well, I acted this way because things weren't being taken the way that I wanted. When there's lots of other people all working together, making a team, and you're the only problem. If you're the one problem out of an entire group of people, maybe it's not them, it's you. But you know what's even more rich is that Roseanne responded to this. Roseanne made a Twitter post, which we're about to read through before we show any more footage of Gabbie, Daniel, and Joey. And I don't know if you know who this is, but I've been subscribed to this lady for back when she had like 50,000 subscribers, and she makes baking videos. I have never in my life seen Rosanna ever respond to drama, ever, in the last decade. But she made a post, and this is what she had to say.
Joey and Daniel were extremely patient and accommodating during filming Season 3 and Season 4 of Escape the Night. I personally witnessed them both try to take care of every single cast member more than any other set I've been on in over 14 years. They both even paid out of their own pocket to make sure we had the nicest trailer with everything we requested. The crew was also very professional, organized, and hardworking. I don't like drama, but Gabbie's video paints an untruthful picture of what happened. Much of it is simply false. 1. Gabbie did not come to the 3 wardrobe fittings before filming. At 2 of my fittings, I was told Gabbie was supposed to be there that day, but didn't show up. She chose not to go at all, so the wardrobe department did their best to make a costume without even being able to see her. I, too, had some issues with my wardrobe, but was able to work with the production team to get them resolved at the fittings. 2. The entire cast was sent a dietary restrictions request form days before filming. Every single request I made on the form was taken care of by Joey and Daniel. I personally heard Gabbie tell Joey the first day of filming, I didn't fill that out, I hope that's okay. Keep in mind, meals are ordered before production begins, so everything is ready ahead of time. That is the time to make dietary requests or bring your own food. 3. I also personally witnessed Daniel leaving set to go get Gabbie any food that she wanted. There was also many healthy options, including a salad bar with protein. Despite all this, she blamed Joey multiple times for causing her eating disorder to come back. 4. During the photo shoot press day, long after the show wrapped shooting, Gabbie called one of the female production assistants a dumb and walked off set without finishing her shoot. The reason? Because the crew member gave an updated shoot time that was 10 minutes different than she was originally told. 5. I also have ADHD, and am very familiar with the anxiety and stress it can cause. However, that is simply not an excuse to treat people like that and behave in that manner. I don't think Gabbie realized that I could unfortunately hear many of the conversations she was having with Joey in production because my part of the trailer shared a paper-thin wall with Joey's. I did my best to avoid my private room for this reason, but from what I did hear, I can say I've never experienced someone talk like that. This is just a few of the falsehoods in her video, but I'll stop here. She was the most difficult, mean, and selfish person I've ever experienced on set. Oftentimes, exposing videos are produced in a way to leave out key details. Please keep that in mind when viewing this type of content.
And for me, I showed up to set, and like one of the things they promised was like, we promise we'll get you a really comfortable outfit. They were bragging that they were like spent all this money on this like beautiful silk, and I'm like, please just make sure I'm warm. I don't want to be in heels again. Like, dude, this is like literally playing physical sports outside in costumes. Like, it's the most confusing situation. And like, I don't want to be in heels and tights and shit again this year. I want to be warm and I want to be able to like move, because we sit in these outfits for literally like, the work hours on that set were nuts. I show up on set, literally the exact same problem where I literally couldn't move my arms and I was feeling really restricted and like claustrophobic in it. I was wearing literally nothing. It was like freezing winds. Once again, I'm in heels playing fucking sports outside in heels. Like, all the shit that I was promised wasn't going to happen, essentially.
The issue is, Gabbie, you had 2 more fittings after we made you this custom look that you just didn't show up for. Even to the point where we offered to meet you at your music studio that you accepted, and when the costume designer, who was actually 9 months pregnant at the time, drove across town to go to your music studio, you stood her up. And again, there was no way for us to make sure that your wardrobe fit until you showed up the first day of set and it didn't fit you, surprise! And you were complaining that it didn't fit you, but you also didn't make it to the previous 2 fittings to make sure that it fit you. So make it make sense.
Let me give you the facts here. The reason why her outfit didn't fit is because Gabbie didn't attend 2 out of the 3 wardrobe fittings. This is March 8th. This is 3 days before filming. Do you know how difficult those days before filming is? Everybody's stressed, everybody's freaking, it is crunch time. The way wardrobe works, it is done weeks before the show is supposed to start, not days. Gabbie is officially on the shit list. Not only did she make who is 9 months pregnant drive all the way to her studio in Porter Ranch today at 5 p.m., but she legit left early and isn't available all night to get fitted. I respond, OMG. So we will have to pick her outfit for her and it won't be fitted. It is the biggest fuck you. She canceled on us yesterday too. To get this text and to know that somebody is putting their schedule ahead of a massive production is extremely embarrassing to me, especially that I considered Gabbie, I'm not gonna say I considered her a friend, I considered our relationship friendly, cordial, I was always kind to her, and it was just really shitty to hear that because everybody else somehow in their busy schedules.
They asked me, like, are you allergic to any metals when I was getting this costume, and I was like, I'm highly allergic to pretty much all metal except for like sterling silver, white gold. First day right off the bat, I'm wearing all of this fake huge chunky jewelry that did break me out in very like painful itchy hives all over my body, not just where it was. And
you didn't respect the team enough to make those appointments, therefore, yeah, your outfit was a bit ill-fitting. Maybe it was a little tight, but guess what, sweetheart? That's your fault. If the necklace was causing irritation, which you're saying you're only allowed to wear sterling silver, the piece was sterling silver. So I'm very confused as to how you have pus and warts and growths or whatever all along your body. Nobody forced you to wear the necklace. The first time you had an irritation, you could have ripped the necklace off and thrown it into the woods and say, oops, I lost it. Hello? Or just tell wardrobe, this isn't working for me, I'm gonna need to take it off. Nobody forces anybody to wear anything. This is not that type of production.
Honestly, Daniel, I'm reading this and like actually chuckling to myself because it's honestly unreal. I have gone above and beyond, and I have sat there for hours in complete full glam when I knew I was not needed that early and did not get my interviews done, and then had people lie to my agent and say I was refusing to work. That is ridiculous. Now, you guys rescheduled the shoot multiple times, and I have rescheduled my schedule multiple times. I have a conflict. I didn't realize that this was going to be an 8 to 9 hour day. Colleen is saying the same thing. She's freaking out because nobody can understand why this is this long of a day.
I'm gonna pause this right here for a sec. She doesn't know that Colleen is one of my best friends, and I was on the phone with her. Colleen knows exactly how this shoot works. She's had multiple shows of her own. She's toured the world. She's had a Netflix show. She knows exactly what key art shoots entail, and this was not a non-issue for her. She even brought her assistant Corey with her. He was handling things. Her whole family was there. She had her own little green room where she could breastfeed. So I'm not sure where she's thinking that lying using an amazing person like Colleen is gonna get her. I'm very confused here.
Is extremely inefficient. I know that I'm going to go sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours when realistically it should take a couple of hours. I have something that I have scheduled, a project that I've already rescheduled multiple times now. I have to work around other people's schedules for that too. If you guys can't be flexible by 2 hours after the bullshit that you guys put me through, I would love to send you pictures of my back and the hives on my neck, my ears, and my chest, and the extreme bloody pussy breakouts I had when nobody listened to me about being allergic to jewelry. I'd like to send you the photos of the bruises and cuts from my bleeding wrist from the rope that you guys tied around my wrist. And I sat there for literally 35 to 40 minutes.
I'm gonna pause it again. So during one of the scenes, Gabbie was tied to a chair in the dining room of season 4, and there was somebody across the table from her that was also tied to a chair, and that was me. Every season I have a little Easter egg character. I was in full prosthesis. I was a caveman, a pretty gorgeous one if I do say so myself, and I was tied with that same rope. I was tied by the same person in the exact same way. This is stunt rope. It is not real rope. There were no cuts on me. Unfortunately, I did not show my wrist. I didn't take pictures, but you know what? Maybe her skin is extremely sensitive and maybe she was scratched up a bit, but there were no cuts, there was no pus, there was no bleeding of the wrists, and it was not 40 minutes long. We filmed maybe 3 takes and we filmed in about 20 minutes. So again, I'm just not seeing the connection here.
When the cameramen weren't even in the room to film, I had to be sitting there tied up with not even prop rope, real actual rope that bruised and cut my fucking wrist for no reason. Like, it's bullshit, Daniel. I have gone above and beyond for you guys. So for you to send me that message when I'm saying, hey, I need to come an hour or 2 later because I've already rescheduled this 3 times and I have to be there and I'm depending on other people, that to me is absolutely disrespectful. I feel so disrespected when the only things I've ever asked for was a costume to fit, which again...
A costume to fit? And it didn't fit because you did not come to the wardrobe fittings, Gabbie. And guess who else backs me up to verify that information? Rosanna Pansino. I'll pop it up here. She tweeted on Twitter. She did not attend 2 out of the 3 of her fittings, and then she made a grown woman who is 9 months pregnant come to her music studio in Porter Ranch, which is a ways out of Los Angeles, and fit her, and then she still left early. So there's your reasoning there.
This year it did not. And to be warm when everybody else is running around and...
You had the option to be warm. You were given the option for a large overcoat, but you did not want to wear that because you wanted the beautiful garment to be seen.
Fur and coats, and I'm in a sheer silk garb that was being specifically made for me so that I could have warmth. To wear jewelry that I'm not allergic to, that I don't have...
The jewelry situation, I'm not talking about this again. If you didn't want to wear the necklace, you didn't have to.
Hives and pussy things going up and down my back.
Also, there's a cream for that.
Back of my neck and my ears, and to have healthy meals.
You guys, I've given all the receipts about the meals. This is a fabrication.
And by the end of the first day, I'm like, okay, there's literally no healthy food. There was like a taco on a flour tortilla with cheese. I like pulled Daniel aside and I was like, I understand it's the first day, but like, please make sure that there's like the proper food tomorrow. But it was the last day. And don't get me wrong, I was like bitching the whole time.
So here are some clips of the trailer and the first day.
Here it is. There's a kitchen, living room, little vanity area there in the back. And over here is a bedroom. There's a shower if you want to take a shower. Bedroom here, and a toilet.
So actually on productions, especially with cast trailers, they aren't this nice. But because I know everybody on this season, like all seasons, I really wanted to make it something special.
There's a bunch of candy here in case you have a sweet tooth. There's some fruit and vegetables, some little energy supplements, seaweed snacks. These are like more healthy snacks here. And then in the fridge, I'll give you the tea on what people asked for. So we have water, Red Bull, energy drinks, kombucha. Colleen literally only wanted Coke. We have fruit plates, veggie plate. Daystorm wanted protein drinks.
As you can see, sweetie, that trailer is stunning. Healthy foods. There's also some junk foods if you have a sweet tooth. There's green juices, there's water, there's fresh fruit, there's fresh vegetables. There were ice pops in the freezer. There were almonds, seaweed snacks, healthy snacks, Cheez-Its, everything. Anything you wanted, we had it there. We even had hummus, vegetable trays, and all of those were being replenished daily by me. Again, not my job description, but it's something that I wanted to do because I was friends and friendly with everybody on the cast that season. I wanted everybody to be well taken care of.
Like, I was very unhappy because I was fucking hungry, dude. I'm hungry. Not eating enough and not eating the right food, and in the mental state of every time I eat one of these like snacks from Crafty, I'm blowing up 100 sizes.
Wow, Gabbie. Okay, let me just say something right off the bat. If this is such a terrible experience, if they are not catering to what you need, how about you take one extra step and you put together a small little lunch bag of the requirements that you need and you bring it to set, okay? What's like, does that not cross your mind that you can bring your own snacks, your own foods, the things that you specifically need, even though they went out of their way to try to provide those things for you, and they did, but you still were not satisfied? Like, holy moly guacamole, Batman. Oh, I ate a snack. Oh, I ate a snack. I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna blow up to 100 sizes. Oh my god. Oh my god. What am I gonna do? But you do see my point here? Like, do you this is wild. This is a wild situation. I can't believe this. I really can't.
So then the last day that I was there, we wrapped at like 4:30 or 5 because like there was this big power outage thing that like literally postponed production like so late. So we wrapped around 4 or 5 and then I got my call time and I was like, why? It's a night shoot. And that was something that happened to me both seasons where like my call time was always ridiculously early. I feel like that's a full work day and we haven't even started working yet. Then I'm just like sitting around in full glam doing nothing else. Like it's a miserable fucking experience. Everybody else who had a great experience, great. But like for me, that's why I said I didn't want to do it, because I didn't want to fucking do it. And that's honestly also on me for not respecting my own boundary. I didn't understand myself enough at the time to know that I just should not have done the show.
Hey, cool, you're right. You didn't respect your own boundaries, but how is that other people's problem? Why is it other people's fault? If you don't respect your own boundaries and you agree to things, or you are one of those people that always says yes, 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 that isn't on them. That's on you. And you admit this, but you're still trying to blame things on both of them. Why?
I should have fucking held firm to that and just been like, I love you, I want to support you, but like this is a no for me. So anyway, the last day, I had this absurdly ridiculous call time and I literally told the producer, no, I'm getting home. It's like 5 fucking a.m. Like I have to sleep. And they were like, well, we need you to do your interviews. And that was this other, dude, it was crazy making, because literally they would have me do my hair and makeup early and I'd be sitting there because like we need to do interviews, which was like the fake reality TV portion of the show. I still don't understand the show, dead ass, but there's like a reality TV portion of it where we were like playing these characters, but like it's us. I don't really know. They'd say it was for interviews and then I'd be sitting there waiting and nobody would come get me to do the interviews. So I was like, what the fuck? But then what was worse than that, they would keep coming up to me and being like, Gabbie, okay, are you ready to do interviews? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, okay, stay put, don't leave, we'll be right back. And then they'd leave and then nobody would come back. So I'd literally just be sitting there for fucking ever. And then somebody else would come back and be like, oh, why aren't you in interviews? And I'm like, because nobody came and got me. And then they'd be like, okay, hold on 1 sec. And then they would leave. Literally what would happen is we would start filming the episode and I didn't do the interview. So you had me get my ass here that early. I sat here and did nothing. Here's what really fucking sent me over the edge. I got home to my fucking room and I had an email from my agent saying, Gabbie, you can't refuse to do interviews. And I was like, I'm not refusing to do interviews. I'm literally sitting here waiting and nobody's getting me or miking me. How is this my fault? Like I literally felt like I was going crazy.
The PA tells Gabbie a time that she has to arrive the next day and she completely refuses, cusses out the PA and tells him that she refuses to come. So of course, we reach out to her manager, let him know that, hey, Gabbie is refusing to work under the contract that she signed and that she needs to show up on set. And her manager was extremely apologetic and was basically saying that he was going to drop her after this. Like, it was extremely unprofessional. Like, he's had so many issues with her. And so she showed up on set the next day, but the director and I met and were like, okay, this is not it. We need to kill her off the show as soon as possible so it can be a peaceful set, because she was causing so much chaos that we just needed to get rid of her.
This is how I act when I'm upset. Like this right now, my level's already up. Imagine like being there and being like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm waiting, I'm right here waiting for my interview. This is my fault. The entire production team, literally nobody just came. I'm sitting in the hair and makeup trailer or in the green room. I was nowhere else because there was literally nowhere else to go. You were either in the hair and makeup trailer or you were in the green room. So like, whose fault is it that I didn't do interviews? Like, what do you want me to do? Oh my God. Anyway, so at 4 p.m. the last day I was there till 7. The whole interviews thing is there. I'm still sitting there waiting to do interviews. The interviews don't get fucking done. at 4 p.m. I was like, hey, can I get some food to one of the producers? And they said, the kitchen doesn't open till 5. And I was like, what? I've been here all day and there's nothing but snacks available. Like, this is fucking nuts, dude. So I blew up at the director. I blew up at probably Daniel and not Joey. I was very careful not to blow up at Joey, but I blew up at Daniel because Daniel was the producer and he was also the person who promised me that he personally would take care of my meals. It just turned into this thing of like, Gabbie's a diva. And then I talked to Joey and then they lied to me and said that they wanted me to stay because I was like, dude, do you want to kill me off? They're like, no, like, we want you to stay. And then I had heard one of the producers let it slip that they were like killing me off. And then I asked Joey again, like, are you killing me off? He said no to me again. And then it turns out that they did actually plan to kill me off, which was for the best, don't get me wrong. But it's just like, dude, just be a real person. Like, nobody's a real person. You know, like, whatever. So anyways, the next day, I believe it was the next day, I texted Daniel and Joey and I sent them this apology where I was like, I really did not want this to be a bad experience. I'm so sorry if I like ruined this experience for you. I'm so grateful that you like trusted me with this and that you wanted me to be a part of it. I wish I could have been better at doing this and expressing myself. But then I also wanted to express myself, which is I really didn't want it to get to this point. Just basically saying this is why I got here. I do think we need to like stop with this idea that like apologies have to be one way because we were both wrong. I was a bitch and an asshole, which actually no, I'm not gonna call myself a bitch. I'm going to say that I had a very emotional reaction to a very emotionally triggering situation.
All right, I gotta say something here. You had an emotional reaction to a triggering situation. Triggers are very, very, very real. I've been triggered once so bad that I punched a hole in the wall. That reaction that I had, despite what was said to me, as triggering as it was, that was my responsibility, my reaction. It doesn't matter what they said, no matter how horrible what they said, I'm responsible for how I react. If I am triggered by something that somebody does, I am responsible for my reaction and what I do. If I'm walking down the street and somebody says something that triggers me, and I just go up through and bash them in the face, am I not responsible for my reaction? This is the one thing. I see this happen too often. People are like, you triggered me. You said something that triggered me. I get it. But if you result to an abusive response through a trigger, by let's say hitting somebody, your response is always your responsibility. It doesn't matter the context of what is said to you. Now I'm talking about verbal words here, specifically in this incident. You being emotionally triggered by something doesn't justify you acting like an asshole to people, doesn't justify you treating people like garbage. Stop using I was triggered to hurt other people. There is no excuse for that. I've dealt with that myself, and it's horrible because then everybody is terrified that they can't even talk to you because they're walking on, they're literally tiptoeing constantly like this. Oh my God. What if I say something wrong? What if I word something wrong? What if I step on the wrong little egg and she gets triggered and she verbally abuses me or attacks me or calls me names? I have been there. I know what this is like. And it's a terrifying experience to know somebody who, when they get triggered, justifies their response based upon, you triggered me. You triggered me. You triggered me. That's why I hit you. You triggered me. That's why I punched you in the fucking face. You triggered me. That's why I went to a school, pulled out a shotgun, and shot children. I know that's dramatic. I'm exaggerating here for the sake of the argument. Do you see my point on why this is so fucking crazy to me? The point that I'm trying to make is that no matter what is said to you or what is done to you, you are responsible. You as an individual, Gabbie Hanna, me as an individual, Daniel Sulzbach, Repzion, I am responsible for how I react to something when I am triggered. If my response is toxic, horrible, abusive, whatever it is, that is on me, always. Even if the narcissist is trying to get a reaction out of you to react, and you do react, if you do something in that reaction that is, let's say, you hit somebody or something, that's still on you. You're responsible for that. And you need to take accountability for how you react. And if somebody is truly emotionally triggering you all the time, then you need to disengage with them, disassociate with them, cut contact with them. Don't be friends with them. Whatever you gotta do to disassociate from that environment, you do you, boo. But don't justify abuse because you were triggered.
That I could have handled myself better. 100%. And it's embarrassing, and that's why I apologize for it. But like, to not apologize back, to not take ownership of anything that you did to contribute to that. Like, dude, you didn't respect me as a person, as a friend, as a creator, as a talent on your show. Like, how unprofessional and gross is it? Gloss over this because it was actually so fucked. I reached out to Daniel because he tweeted something about Santa's naughty list not coming to the Christmas party this year or something. It's an annual Christmas party. I've been invited the last couple years. When I saw that was around drama. So then I reached out to Daniel and I was like, dude, it's totally okay if you can't invite me to your party. I totally understand if you don't want to be associated. And he was like, no, girl, not you. Like, Trisha, she's the problem. And then I literally went and bought the secret exchange white elephant gift. Like, it's a $50 gift every year. I went and got the gift because he literally told me I'm invited to the party. And then I see Snapchats and Instagram stories about that. That's whatever. I apologized to you, you accepted it, and then the second it was popular to throw me under the bus, you threw me under the bus. Like, there's no other way around that, because you're either being fake then and pretending to like me for content or followers or to be on your fucking billboard, or you're being fake now when you threw me under the bus the second you felt like it was safe because so many people were doing it. I took ownership for my mistake of that to you personally, both Joey and Daniel. I texted Joey and I was like, dude, I wish you would have just talked to me. Like, I thought we were past this. So then he told me that he accepted my apology then, but then he decided he didn't accept it, which is fine. If you want to unaccept your apology, it's weird, but do you. I guess that's your right.
So then her video goes into her apology and my fake accepting her apology. So same with before, where we're on set, it's like I have to do what I have to do to protect this project. And by accepting your apology was me protecting the project. You're pretty unstable and I don't know what to expect from you. So I'd rather pretend that we're good than actually deal with the craziness that you bring. I don't think you realize this, Gabbie. Maybe you do, but you're scary and you make it very hard for people to be honest with you. And if I was honest with you, nothing would have changed. You're so delusional and you think that you were always going to be the victim. Even months after, when I finally did share with you my frustration of you on set, there was no getting through to you. There was always just an excuse. So maybe understand that the reason why all these people who are fake friends just don't know how to cut it off with you because you're scary.
But I think it's also kind of fucked up to like go onto a public platform without at least coming to me first and being like, you know what, I thought about it and I still want to talk about it. I'm still upset. But
in my personal opinion, when somebody apologizes and then they revoke an apology, that is a thing. And I don't think it's super weird depending on the context. But I can definitely understand where Joey would have come from in terms of, you know, apologizing, because you are somebody who forces apologies out of people, regardless of whether there's merit for that apology or not. You constantly, with everybody, you're throwing fingers and demanding apologies from every single person, even if they've done something so like Oscar. We gotta go back to Oscar for him like liking a tweet. You demanded him apologize for liking a tweet that was about you. Like, do you understand how ridiculous that is? And sometimes people will just apologize because they don't want to deal with you. It's easier just to say, I'm sorry or whatever, to make you go away. But then, you know, in retrospect, sometimes people can come and be like, you know what? I shouldn't have apologized for that because I'm being forced into apologizing for something that I didn't actually even do, but I feel guilty for because you're making a whole scene and it's just causing drama and I just don't want to deal with it and I don't want to deal with you because you're fucking crazy. You know? Has that ever I mean, I can't speak. Has that ever crossed your mind, Gabbie? Can somebody in the comment section leave a comment on how many people Gabbie Hanna has demanded that they apologize? I think Dom the Bomb. I'm thinking Oscar. I'm thinking Daniel Preda. I'm thinking Joey Graceffa. I'm thinking Jesse Smiles. I'm thinking Trisha Paytas. I know there's more. Do you understand? Like, this is crazy to me that your ego simply relies upon having an apology from every single person who has spoke in any context in a negative way of their experience with you. I've learned in my life that, you know what? Sometimes getting an apology from somebody isn't worth it. Demanding an apology just isn't worth it. You have to learn to let things go. Even if people are horrible to you and have done horrendous things to you, sure, would an apology be nice? Sure. Is it necessary? No. Move on. You have to move on. You can't live a life of constantly like, I deserve this, I deserve that, I deserve this, I deserve... Nobody deserves jack shit in life, okay, from other people. That's the problem, Gabbie. Your expectations for what you require of people is too high. And the moment you have these high expectations for everybody around you, you're gonna be disappointed. That's a universal rule of life.
So embarrassing finding out how many people did not give a fuck about me. Like, I went through my life without friends. Like, that's not a friend. That never was a friend. That was somebody who never liked me, never cared about me, and also caused a lot of fucking drama in my life. Constantly coming back to my ear about, like, this person said this person said this, like, planting shit in my head. That caused me, like, real drama and repercussions and shit. Like, just sucks, dude. I'm tired of like the fake woke conversations about like we care and like about mental health and we want to protect people. Like, no, dude, because this is mental health. Let's normalize respecting people's boundaries. I'm doing my part the best I can. I'm trying to work on myself and I'm trying to communicate clearly what I need, and then to just like whatever, dude. You get the point.
Wow. Wow, guys, that was quite a segment, wasn't it? And I'm going to be making a part 3 of Gabbie Hanna. We're going to be covering more Trisha Paytas stuff, the whole Jessie Smiles stuff, the phone call, and all of that in another video. Unfortunately, this video is too long already. This is like a documentary series with a bunch of commentary put in between. And I'm going to go have fun with this little guy. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary. All of my social links are linked down below in the description box of this video. I recommend you expand that. All the videos that I mentioned and showcased and are that in this video, they're all linked down below in the description. If you want me to cover something, feel free to join my Discord. It is linked down below in the description. And also linked down below in the description is our official Minecraft server, which we just launched a few days ago. We're still in the works of getting it fully developed with permissions and commands. Yes, I have a Minecraft server now. But yeah, if you're interested in that type of stuff, I also stream almost every other day on Twitch, twitch.tv/Repzion. I stream in the morning, and we watch YouTube videos together. I do real-life streams up there. But yeah, folks, I hope this video served you well if you managed to get all the way to the very end. If you did, thank you so much, and special thanks to all of my patrons right on here. You guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting me. And I'll see you guys next week for another video. Peace, the Rep.